Will Goldstein here, thekingscourt.com, and I just released an album. Mentioned that on a couple of the last videos. I noticed it's already out. My website's updated with all the links to where you can listen to it, so it's totally available if you want to listen to it. It's All Hail the King. And again, always a chance to subscribe down in that corner there. We're still doing C.S. Lewis' Mere Christianity series. He calls this charity. I'm going to label it Charity, the Path of Love. He had mentioned in the past videos, he mentioned in his book, the cardinal virtues, and so now we're dealing with the theological virtues, faith, hope, and charity, and this particular chapter is charity. Charity can be considered basically synonymous with love, although he starts off by saying charity is what used to be called alms, which basically is giving to the poor. So it's associated with love. So charity means love. Then he goes on to say that love in a Christian sense does not mean really just emotion. It's not a state of feelings, but of the will, a state we have naturally about ourselves, but we must learn to have love for other people. Our love for ourselves does not necessarily mean that we like ourselves, but it means that we wish our own good. If somebody doesn't wish his own good, then he's lost all love for himself. We like some people and not others, and that's a natural thing. Liking someone or not liking them is not really a sin nor a virtue, it just is. It's a fact. What we do about it is either sinful or virtuous. Natural liking makes it easier to be charitable towards people. It's a duty to like people as much as we can, which in some cases that could be very difficult. It's necessary to keep a sharp lookout or to consider the idea that our fear for liking one person makes us unfair to someone else. That partiality, favoritism is what he's talking about. We must guard against that. And there are even cases, he says, where liking conflicts with charity towards a person that we like. For example, a mother might spoil her child to gratify her own affectionate impulses, but that's at the expense of the child's real happiness. So a protective mother, she's not really doing the best for the child. Really, it's sort of selfish. Though natural liking is encouraged, it would be wrong trying to manufacture feelings. Some people are just naturally by temperament cold, and it's obviously a misfortune for them if that's the way their temperament is. And it does not excuse us, though, from the duty of learning to be charitable. The rule for all is really simple. Do not waste time bothering whether to love your neighbor or not. Act as if you do. See, in other words, don't wait for that emotion to come along to be charitable towards your neighbor. Just even if it's not there, just act as if you do. As soon as we do this, we find one of the great secrets. And that is basically when you are behaving as if you loved someone, then eventually you actually do come to love that person. So he's putting the cart before the horse sort of thing. If you injure someone, you will dislike him all the more. And if you treat him well, you'll find that you dislike him less. If you do him a good turn, not in order to please God, but only to put him in your debt, you will probably be disappointed. People have an eye for anything that is like patronage. We do good to another because it is a self. It's made by God. The person is made by God, and desires its own happiness, that person does, as we desire our own happiness. Then we shall have learned to love a little more by doing this. Consequently, Christian charity leads to affection. The difference between a Christian and a worldly man is that the worldly man treats certain people kindly because he likes them. The Christian is trying to treat everyone kindly because he finds himself liking more people as he goes on. If you give people a chance, maybe they'll surprise you. The Germans ill-treated the Jews because they hated them, and afterwards they hated them even more because they had ill-treated them. Once you've really treated somebody badly, then it's kind of like a habit, and you just continue to treat that person badly. The more cruel you are, the more you hate. The more you hate, the more cruel you will become. It's a vicious circle, and that can go on forever. Good and evil both increase, and that's by the little decisions that you make daily. The smallest good that you do on a particular day may lead to victories that you never dreamed of if you do the right thing. Indulgence in lust or anger is a loss from which the enemy may launch an attack otherwise impossible. In other words, if you give in to indulgence or lust or anger, then that just gives him leeway, foothold is what Christians say, into your life to do even more damage. Charity describes love between human beings, also God's love for man and man's love for God. We're told that we ought to love God, but sometimes we can't find the feelings in ourselves, so then what do? Well, the answer is act as if you did. Do not try to manufacture feelings. If I loved God, what would I do? Ask yourself that question. When you've found the answer, then go and do it. Nobody has devout feelings all the time. Feelings are not what God principally cares about. Christian love towards God or man is an affair of the will. If we are trying to do his will, we are obeying his commandment. That commandment is, thou shalt love the Lord thy God, and then he will give us the feelings of love that if he pleases. Though feelings come and go, God's love for us does not come and go. It is not wearied by our sins. It is relentless in its determination that we be cured of sin at whatever cost to us and at whatever cost to God.